What's going on, everybody? I'm Patrick from POWLAX, and this video is an excerpt from the two-man game video. And within this section, we're going to be talking about how different locations give us different looks within these two-man games. Before we get started, make sure to check out patreon.com/POWLAX, where you can download and print the playbook PDF that accompanies this and over 50 other POWLAX videos by becoming a patron and supporting this channel. The goal for this channel is to put out free, in-depth lacrosse coaching content for coaches and players to access anytime, anywhere. Now we're going to talk about different locations and how they affect the picking game. And so the first two locations we have that we're going to pair together are the 8 and the 2. So top center and X. And the reason I pair those together is because they create symmetry, because you can take the left side or the right side of the field. And so let's say we're picking from X. As M3 comes to set the pick and A3 comes off of it, we have two players moving to opposite sides. And in our traditional dodging offenses, where a lot of teams like to dodge directly from X, is they're able to use all of the same skills that they would be able to trying to get to the island on either side, regardless of whether they caught the ball after rolling or if they just came off the pick hard. In 2019, Virginia used picks at X as a part of their 2-2-2 offense and was extremely deadly with it. As you can see here, as they scored 2 goals with under a minute left. First, coming off a pick to the left side and having a nice feed inside, and then second, running off the pick, then finding the short stick matchup, dodging against that matchup, and finding another feed up top. The other thing that can happen in the 8 is a razor pick, and a razor pick is a pick that's set right on GLE. And so I might have my terminology wrong here, but I'm pretty sure a pick right here as A2 comes up over it would be considered a razor pick. But it also, razor picks can also be set on GLE where guys are going east-west, but I call those east-west picks. So the terminology on this isn't, I'm not quite exactly sure exactly what the college coaches are calling it, but this is the idea. The basic idea here is if A2 drives D2 off of a pick here, he puts DM1 in a very pernicious situation, because if he switches, now A2, one of the best attackmen, is on a short stick on the island, which no defensive coach wants. But you are also in a situation where if D2 comes around this pick through the crease and then tries to play A2 on the other side, you're giving a really good shooter space to shoot at 4 yards out and 3 yards up, which is also not a good thing for the defense. As a quick added point, I asked Deemer Class what the names of these were, and he mentioned that this type of pick he calls a slam pick, which is interesting because I've always referred to a slam as an off-ball pick where you seal your man into the middle, and then the east-west pick is his razor pick. So here, this is what some people are considering a slam pick, whereas the east-west one we'll get to when we talk about the 7 and the 9 are razor picks. In this first clip, notice how not having a switch frees up the hands of the shooter as he comes above GLE. Next, watch how switching puts a short stick on an attackman on the island, and it doesn't work out very well. Now, when we talk about the 2, we have the same basic idea. We're going to use these alleyways that a lot of traditional dodging offenses like to use. And when we start from top center, the most difficult thing we have from an offensive perspective is making sure you turn the corner, because once you're trying to, dodge and get out around, you're going to have to turn the corner once you come off of the pick. The other thing from a defensive standpoint that makes it pretty difficult from the 2 is that it's really hard to dictate which direction M2 is going to go from DM1. And so what you find is as he's dodging, a lot of times D2 will have to show quite a bit, which will then leave the player who is slipping or rolling to the goal open as the pick comes to them. So the main thing to keep in mind from the 2 or the 8 is that we are going to reinforce a lot of the concepts learned in dodge to draw and move the ball offenses, where you have a lot of dodges from X or dodges down either alley. Now we're going to talk about two-man games in the 4 and the 6, or just on the wings. And this is the most dangerous place to set picks from that was found in a 2017 study on the MLL picks. And basically picks in the wing areas generated goals like 32% of the time, whereas everywhere else was sitting at about 28%. So that 4% increase definitely makes it more dangerous, and I think I have a relatively decent idea of why. So the first reason I'd say that this is the most dangerous is because all of the players who play box year-round are picking in these areas. So if this was a box that was superimposed, kids who play box, people who've been playing box their whole lives have been picking in these areas and really mastering these angles. The next reason I think is because as players are setting picks on the wings and then slipping, is that as you get this horizontal movement to the front of the goal, you become extremely dangerous as you're moving, and you can stay dangerous longer. So if you think about a alley dodge down the alley, as you continue, you hit this like sweet spot right in here where if you roll back, you're going to be dangerous. But if you continue to move, you're going to get very much so less dangerous. But so this horizontal motion allows you to be dangerous for a lot longer. Now, the next reason that I feel that it's very dangerous is because there is a added element of not knowing which side the pick is going to come on that's better than in other places. So if you use double moves in other areas, you can set the pick on different sides. But here, because as A3 and A2 move out to set the picks, now they can really hop to either side pretty easily, and then the ball carrier can either refuse the pick or come off the pick depending on kind of how they do it. But so there's that added little element of which side is going to be picked. And so as we go through that, we're going to talk about picks in the following ways. On this side, we are going to talk about down picks, and a down pick is any time that the picker is holding the defensive player down. So here, M3 is going to come off towards the top, and this is a front door pick. And front door basically refers to in front of the goal. So a down pick is a front door pick, and then obviously we're going to get A3 rolling towards the goal, and we've got all of our, basic options where we're trying to get the 2-on-1 with D3 right there. Now on this side, we are going to talk about up picks. And up picks are basically where the picking player is going to keep the defensive player up, or he's going to move up to set this pick. Now, as the up pick is set, M2 is going to come underneath, and because he's coming underneath, that is why we would call this a backdoor pick. We are calling it a backdoor pick because as we are trying to get to these kind of back pipe areas, that's what we're referring to as backdoor. And so as we slip here, we're doing the same basic idea. We're just trying to turn the corner to get to the middle. We've got our player who's rolling to the higher side now, since we're taking the low side as we carry the ball. But the combination of the angles of getting across horizontally across the front of the goal, as well as everybody's practicing it all year in box, really makes these wing areas extremely dangerous to set picks at. In our first clip, we see a pick in the 6, and notice how easy it is for this player to set an up pick, then turn to set a down pick in this space and continuously be dangerous. In this next clip, we get a mirror from the middle and a dodge underneath where this player can then dive across the goal. Finally, we have a down pick set here where watch as the ball carrier is dangerous for a very long, extended amount of time. The entire time he is above the goal, he is extremely dangerous, being able to shoot from directly in front of the goal. And of course you have the picks on the wings where the defenseman moves around the pick and doesn't pick up the ball carrier in time. Now as we move to all of the corners of the field, we're going to start with the top two first. So in the 1 and the 3. So as we go over the 1, same idea for the 3. So the first thing that we have when we are picking in that 1 or the 3 spot is the idea of harnessing the idea of dodging down the alleys, which so many kids do so well. So as M3 gets ready to dodge, if he's used to dodging the alley, he is going to be more able to turn the corner because that's what he's used to. So that's one of the things we're harnessing. This also works as far as sweeping across the top. Now, the next thing that this location does is as A3 moves out to set this pick, is that once he comes off this pick, now both players are heading down towards the goal. And this is extremely dangerous just because it really orients us towards the goal. Shots are going to be more effective and it's just more efficient. So now, as we kind of talked about a little bit earlier, this also creates a very good time for us to run our nations look where we pass down and then look back up through if we isolate D3 here. But so just the idea of being able to come off a pick, have both players moving down towards the goal is going to make our players more dangerous. Now, when we think about the sweep across the top, as say M3 dodges down the alley, rolls back over this pick, and now comes here, and then A3 kind of floats down to this wing, this also puts D3 in a very hard situation where if he, slides to this whole side has been cleared out already for M3 to dodge in. So A3 has a lot of space here to manipulate if the ball is then thrown to him. In this first clip where this player dodges off the pick from the 3, this player uses the same techniques he would dodging down the alley without a pick, turns the corner and gets in front of the goal to shoot and score. In this next clip from the 1, as this player dodges off of the pick, he draws the switch, and the player who set the pick is primed to roll to the front of the goal, accept a feed, and shoot. Now the final area we're going to talk about is the 7 or the 9, and so this is a very unique position to pick from because we are going to be using the goal as a deterrent in the same way we would kind of use it at X. So another thing we're going to be harnessing is the way the defense wants to play us if we are below the goal. So the main idea that's utilized most when defending a player who is a good dodger from behind the goal is to trail them to X and keep them below the goal, so that basically we're going to use the goal and the crease as a deterrent, and we're going to push players behind it because you can't shoot and score from behind the goal unless you're Gary Gait. But so as we're playing this, when we think about setting the pick, M2 is going to come out to set a pick in this area. And as he does that, A1 is going to be dodging parallel to GLE, which D1 is then basically going to be watching him. Now, if you have a good matchup defensively, you can push out and try and take the ball, and it should be easy to read the slides here. But for the most part, if it's a really good attackman, the defenseman's going to be cautious here and not make contact until about 2 yards below GLE. And that's going to help us on the offensive end, because as A1 is thinking about this, he's going to have 2 basic options. He can, use kind of a rocker here and slow up the defenseman so that M2 can come kind of set a pick east-west, where he can explode off of it. Gaining even like half a step is going to put D1 in a chase scenario where he should be able to get a relatively decent shot off. The other thing it allows him to do is, because D1, after seeing this first look where he loses half a step and then gets beat around the other side, now he might start to get out of position, trailing him to X, because he's thinking he may have to run around the goal. And instead of playing him, trailing him to X, he's kind of going to get overzealous where he's coming this way, and then A1 can then roll back over the top of this pick set by M2. And this is a very bad situation for the defense, because if DM1 decides to switch, now we've got A1 being defended by a short stick who is going to the island, and nobody wants that. The other thing is, if they decide not to switch, clearly you're giving him a lot. And if D1 gets underneath here and he comes down through underneath this pick, and A1 has, time to shoot from this 4 yards out and 3 yards up area, most, at least college level attackmen, are going to bury that every time. Notice how as this razor pick is set, the defenseman has to move around the pick. And because he moved around the pick, the goal is now in his way. So as the offensive player explodes around the goal, the defenseman's foot gets caught on the net. The offensive player just turns the corner and adds this nice little leaner finish. As this player picks up the ball and moves to his left as if he was going to go off of the razor pick, he rolls back over the top of the pick and then isolates this other defenseman on the island using a double rollback and sticks it up top. Thanks for taking the time to watch this entire video. I really appreciate it. Definitely let me know what you guys thought down in the comments section, especially if there was something that I missed or something that you really enjoyed. Also, if there's something that was in this video that you think someone else would benefit from, make sure to share that with them, whether that's Facebook or through text messages. Also, if you really enjoyed this video and you want to see it printed out, you can download the playbook PDF at patreon.com/POWLAX by clicking the eye up here in the corner, and then one of the links that has the PDF icon on it. You can get that PDF by becoming a patron on patreon.com/POWLAX. And what that basically is you pay $5 a month, you get access to this PDF and all of the others, and you're basically helping to contribute to the creation of all of these free videos on YouTube, as well as all the stuff that I'm going to be doing in the future. So I really appreciate you if you do that, as well as all the other patrons who have supported me over the last, I think, year and a half. Finally, make sure to follow POWLAX and POWLAX Master Coach on Facebook and Instagram. If you are there on Facebook and Instagram or on YouTube, I'll be doing the live streams on Wednesdays. If you have any questions or topics that you would like me to address in those live streams, you can write those down in the comment section, or you can hit me up on Facebook and Instagram as well. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Have a good one. I will see you in the next video.